On a warm, humid, and calm night, a great accident happened at the Beck Hotel. This hotel, having excellent ratings, has always been known for having a happy, hometown family environment, so the incident came as quite a shock. Young Adam Abel of Easter Island fell from the hotel. Now, was this an accident or not?
I was just visiting the hotel to replace the plush carpet leading up to the entrance. When all of a sudden I heard a loud scream. Looking up at the sound, I noticed a man falling towards me. Dropped my tools and the measurements and quickly moved out of the way in shock. He clapped right on my tape measure, which was measuring the carpet's length in the hotel. He fell 23 feet away from the building. The number is gonna stay with me forever. Just a terrible scene.
We looked through this guy's records and found that he was kind of a sketchy guy.
Apparently, he was blackmailing 4 people that were also staying at the hotel. Coincidence? I think not.
The whole incident was quite scary. If you guys think I did this, you're wrong. I mean, I lost my husband not too long ago. Do you think I would be capable of doing this?
I mean, I won't say what he's blackmailing me for, but I would never do this. I mean, I'm just a news reporter that's raiding this hotel, so I think this whole thing is just bogus. Mark.
Oh, sorry. This is just dumb. I gotta get back to the gym. I barely even knew the guy. I have more important things to worry about. Hey, my agent just called. I have an audition. Do we really have to do this right now? Okay, look, I'm a movie actor. This guy was a nobody. You really think I would waste my time with someone like this?
Looking at the suspects, we can't tell who exactly could have done this, so we had to bring in the experts. Now, looking at everything from a scientific standpoint, it's quite easy what's happened here and who did it. So I first gathered some information.
So the hotel's floors are around 14 feet high. For our customers' comfort, of course. The windows are very large for spacious views for the city. We also designed the floors to be soundproof and very thick, measuring 2 feet thick. So, the height of the building up to floor 28 is around 432 feet.
So let's draw this all out. I've already marked 28 floors with the pink to indicate that that's the height of the highest room of the suspects. So let's calculate the height of each suspect. Starting with Adriana, she's 3 floors up, which would equal to 46 feet, although we have to keep something in mind. The floors are set up like this, with 14 feet ceiling to floor and 2 feet thickness of floors. But if any person, or Adriana, would be standing there, we would have to subtract the 14 feet from that floor in order to calculate how high she actually is. So really, it'd be 32 feet. Now, let's do it to the rest of them. So we first laid out the variables that we have, but notice how we had to convert everything into meters. So Adriana was 9.8 meters, Stephen was 34, Mark was 88, and Stanley was 127 meters above the ground. Also take note in the fact that the landing spot stays the same at 7.01 meters. So using the equation velocity equals change in distance over the change in time, we can find our overall velocity. But notice that we don't have time, so using the kinematic equation, we can alter it to solve for time. So, using each suspect's different height information, we can plug it into the equation to find how fast Adam would be traveling with that specific person's push, which for Adriana would equal to around 5 meters per second. The rest follows with Stephen's, Mark's, and Stanley's horizontal velocity. Using that same kinematic as before, we can show how to solve for time. So using Adriana's height first, we plugged in that Adam fell negative 9.8 meters to the ground. We also plugged in that the acceleration would be negative 9.8 meters per second squared. Notice that the time variables are empty because we're trying to solve for that. But our initial velocity is 0 because he wasn't moving when he was still standing at that height. So we just solved to get Adriana's time, followed by Stephen's, Mark's, and Stanley's. Our next step was to find each horizontal acceleration of each push. To do that, we used this equation, which we can further use to plug into the net force equation, Newton's second law. So we started off with Adriana followed by Stephen, Mark, and then Stanley's horizontal acceleration. We can now use those values and plug it into the net force equation, mass times acceleration. We know the mass of Adam is 160 pounds, but we had to convert that into newtons, which equals 72.5 newtons. Now we just have to plug in our different accelerations to find the force. We now laid everything out, velocity, time, and force. Along with calculating the force with the Newton's second law, we also tested the force it would take to push a 160-pound person with the force plate. Running a few trials, we then had the information to begin ruling out the suspects. Looking at the force Adriana would have to exert onto Adam, it would have to be around 537 newtons. Adriana is a frail lady. We can rule her out because that is too much force for her to push. Looking at Mark, the bodybuilder, we can also rule him out because of the fact that he would exert a lot more force than 56.84 newtons. Similarly, we think that 38.96 newtons is too little for any push that's ending goal is to kill someone, which rules out Stanley, leaving Stephen Kane with 142.6 newtons of force. Stephen Kane is now being sentenced to the Schramm prison. Further updates